Good morning, everyone. So today you and I are going to talk about job interviews. Yes. So let's get into it. Now, job interviews are, apart from them being, it kind of depends, of course, of who you are and where you are in your personal development and where you are in your personal growth and where you are career-wise. And for those out there who, especially to the juniors out there who might be looking for your first job, or you may have had a few jobs but it's your first time trying to find a programming job, this can be a very scary process because job interviews are very scary for a lot of people. Now, I'm basically going to be here and tell you that there's really no way, unless you get very confident. And you get confidence with experience and through testing your own skill sets and feeling that you know the stuff that, or rather the position that you're applying for, that you know it very well. But there's always a grain of uncertainty because a job interview is it's a reviewing process, and most people are comfortable with reviewing themselves. I mean, most people I would say feel very happy to take a personality test or to try to define themselves in some manner, but it's not so fun when somebody else, and especially if maybe your future or your revenue, like your income or something like that, is very tied into the opinion of another person that doesn't really know you all that well. And a lot of people feel this anxiety to perform in a job interview, to prove to the company that you are competent and that you're good and that they should hire you and all of these things, which is absolutely natural. You will feel that way. I mean, everybody feels that way. But what I want to tell you something. And this is something that I kind of realized not that long ago, actually. It wasn't long ago. So, not that long ago, I was looking for a job. My third job, or third or fourth job, I think, as a software developer. And I was talking to everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean over 200 different companies globally. A lot of them are here in Gothenburg. Because I did a little stunt. You might ask, how could you possibly be in contact with that many people? And I will tell you, it was very easy. I, who am a software engineer, automated my LinkedIn profile a long time ago, which means that my network is fairly large for somebody who never, ever, 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 apart from maybe responding to direct messages, actually hang out on LinkedIn. So when I said that I needed to find a job, the entire network went crazy. And I got to talk to a lot of amazing people. And I realized how massive the demand was for software developers. So if you're worried that you're not going to get a job as a software developer, trust me, you have nothing to be worried about. There are so many jobs. You have no idea. Me and my colleagues, we usually joke around and we say that being a software developer today is the closest thing that we are ever going to be in terms of being a rock star. It's like the closest thing to a rock star that you can possibly be today. It's not all good, trust me, because we're still going to talk about the job interview. It's not all good, but it's I would not trade my job position or my value on the job market for that of, say, a cleaner or somebody who doesn't have all that much popular value in the job market in comparison. It's not bad to be a cleaner, of course. It's more about, supply and demand, that type of thing. Anywho, in a job interview, and when I spoke to all these different companies, at first, and you're gonna have to do a bunch of code tests, and they're going to review you and they're going to evaluate you. And what's so funny was that there was two different companies, which I had a lot of the companies in the job interviews. I learned a lot from just doing the interview. So if you feel uncertain about yourself in a job interview as a junior, do what I did. As I said, I talked to everybody, and I was very transparent with that. they will, like, all my different interviewers and companies that all the companies I talk to, they asked me, all right, so how are things going in your job hunt? And I said, yeah, I'm talking to everybody. I made it very clear to them that they are just one number. They're just one in the crowd. And actually, they understood that. A lot of them did. Nobody really took it personal, because I was even telling them, like, because this was the truth. At one point, I remember that a very specific week where I literally had 3 job interviews per day. They were just a number. And that puts, and what's interesting is that puts you in a little bit of a power position, because they realize that you're a busy person. And that's something that you should think, especially if you're not so comfortable in your own skin. Don't be apologetic that you are looking for a job. Why do you have to, why would you put yourself in a situation where, unless it really is your dream job, would you have the mentality that, oh, this company, I have to impress them? Why? Why do you have to impress them? Rather, it's the opposite. Or rather, it's a mutual thing. I would say, if anything, it's a mutual thing. They have to prove to you that this is an interesting place to work. Had the job market been so scarce that shit, if you don't get this job, your family will starve and die, then yeah, maybe the roles would have been a little bit reversed. But this is a seller's market. You are a programmer, and they know that you are a programmer. I'm not saying that they're just going to hand you a job just because you are a programmer, but you should know that they are they are the people who are paying other people to find people like you. So don't let them intimidate you. They're probably not trying to. I've talked to a few companies who were a little bit pompous, I would say, who kind of just assumed that I wanted to work for them. And I actually passed that process, and I still didn't take the job. So, hey, I'm pretty sure they're a little bit like going, whoa, about that one. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back on track. So when you are in a job interview, when I was talking to all these different companies, I realized something, because I started out some code tests and some interviews went really, really well. And then I had this absolutely horrible experience, because let's not forget that today I'm working for a very nice company where I had a great time with them, and everything was clicking, everything was going well. But I also talked to companies where I literally felt that this is hell on earth. This job, I can't even imagine how somebody can work here. And they came back to me and said, no, we don't think you're a good cultural fit. And it used to be the case that I felt really bad about, or rather I felt that handling such rejection or being told that, oh no, you're not good enough to work here, that this really, it hurt. And that's something that you're probably going to face as well when you are a junior. But I want to tell you that don't take it too personally if you don't get the job, because there are so many factors that can play in as to why that happens. I actually spoke to a recruiter who, because I at one point I got fed up with doing code tests. There were so many code tests. I'm sorry, it's like they didn't even understand that. If I'm talking to 250 people, I have 250 code tests. That's how it is, and and some of them really wasted my time and their time as well with code tests that were completely irrelevant to the position. Anyway, I spoke to this woman at the company, and she was saying that, oh, sorry, we as from our perspective, we thought that you were a professional, that you were good at what you were doing. And I told her that, yeah, I would like to think that I'm pretty good at what I do, but the reason why I'm not doing this code tests is because you are wasting my time and you're wasting your own time, and I don't have time to sit here and I have so many other job interviews coming up. I don't have time to waste on something that I think might be something, and when I'm not really getting a good feel from you and the company, because let's just face it, I have been working for a few years, and the code test that you're giving me is completely, it's a bogus code. It's going to take me hours to just formulate the code and do all of this stuff. And instead of me wasting my time trying to prove to you that I can code when I've been clearly working at a company the size of Ticketmaster as their front-end specialist for 2 years, I think this is just a waste of time. And if you have an interview process where you can't even determine in a reasonable amount of time, or even worse, that you don't respect other people's time enough to formulate a good interviewing process, then this company is not for me. And you know, she understood, and I said yeah, and we didn't part as friends necessarily, but there was no hard feelings as far as I'm concerned. And that's what I want you to take away from this. That thing I just told her. At one company, they were sorely disappointed in my performance. And at another company, it was all good in the neighborhood. They thought I was great. And that's going to happen to you too. You have to remember that being good or being bad is contextual, or being the right fit for a company doesn't have to be about you. It can be about them as well. It's about finding a good fit. Don't take it personally. I just urge you, don't take it personally. If you do, you're just being really harsh on yourself. Because, you know, you could be turned down by a shitty little company or consultancy here in Gothenburg, and then Google can give you a call. And you could get hired by that company. That's what I'm telling you. All the companies, they have their own thoughts about what they're looking for. They have their own ideas, yada, yada, yada. It is a personal thing. Think of it as finding a wife or a husband or something like that. Even if you're the most attractive, most beautiful person in the world, that doesn't necessarily mean that every single person around you is going to want to marry you or be with you. Some people find that hard to believe. Some people find that tough to accept. I'm one of those people who have realized that there's always someone out there, and there's usually more than one, who feel and think differently from what you expect them. Just carry that with you when you go to your next job interview, and don't be so harsh on yourself. Have a great day.